What's up, guys? I'm going to show you one of the changes I've been working on for this season. On the side of the oil pans, this is the passenger side on the side. There's a boss here with a big fitting that screws into it. I have no idea what this is used for from the factory, but this is an LT4 ZL1 fitting. See, there's a big check valve in there, or check ball. So that threads in there, and it has a tube coming off of it that goes to some type of breather system to vent the oil pan. I'm not sure what that's for. But one thing I noticed is between the ZL1 LT4 and the SS LT1, these are different. The ZL1 has a bigger check ball and a bigger hole on the inside of it. I don't know if you can see that. So the interesting thing with my cars, I use this for the oil return from the turbo. So my old setup had this tube coming off of it with my hose here, and it drained from the turbo up in the front. I rarely had issues with it draining. It's a gravity drain, but it had to be zip tied in the perfect spot. The hose had to be zip tied in the perfect spot, otherwise it wouldn't drain as good and puff a little bit of smoke. So what I ended up doing was take the LT1 fitting here, and if you look at the feed tube, we had a big size in. This was flanged down, and what I actually ended up doing was drilling it out. That way there's no restriction. I have the same inlet and outlet there. And then I actually drilled out the hole here. Let's see how big it is. To be the same as the tube. So the comparison between the LT1 and the LT4, this was a check ball for the LT1. That hole was tiny before. You can see it dangling in there. So I drilled it out, and now my oil return, the tube that I enlarged, now is the same size as the fitting that screws into the tank, which is the same size as the inlet. So oil is going to flow in out of the turbo into the tube through. Now there's no restriction back into the oil pan. Now I did buy a scavenge pump from Motion Raceworks just to make sure I never have a drain issue, but this was pretty cool. And I don't know what the factory system is hooked up to, but now I shouldn't have any restrictions. Everything will line up, turbo will drain fine, and if for some reason this causes an issue where there's no check ball in there, you'll see on the inside of these pans that boss comes all the way down. It has a tube that goes all the way down to the bottom of the oil pan here. If that causes an issue for some reason, not sure what, I'll go back and I'll just use the LT4 that has the check, and then put my tube into that. But yeah, pretty cool. And this fitting actually has a nice O-ring in it, and it's flanged down, so that's a real nice seal. And then they also have the snap clip that goes in the top of the fitting here. So pretty cool. One thing I forgot to say is this oil pan came off a Vengeance Racing 1100 long block. And Vengeance, actually, so you can see the inside, how it kind of nosed down a little bit. That's the original tube. You can see I enlarged it to match You know, not much, but just a little bit. Every little bit helps when draining. But they actually welded this shut and had this like that with a snap clip in there.